Before you scroll away, listen carefully. This is not just a story about a dangerous police dog. It's a story about grief, trauma, and the moment two broken souls recognized each other. If you believe silent heroes still exist, subscribe now and stay until the end. Because what happened between this K9 and a little girl in a wheelchair changed lives forever. No one at the shelter called him by name anymore. They called him the K9 at the end. The kennel sat apart from the others, half hidden in shadow. Reinforced bars bolted into the concrete floor. A red warning sign hung crookedly on the gate. Former police K9, extreme caution, do not approach inside, lay a massive German shepherd. His fur was dark, thick, streaked with grey around the muzzle. His body bore the marks of service, scars along his flank, a torn ear that never healed quite right, and eyes so intense they made most people look away first. Those eyes were the colour of old steel. His name was Atlas. He had been there longer than any other dog. Every morning, volunteers slowed their steps when they reached his kennel. Some crossed themselves unconsciously, others held their breath. Atlas didn't bark, he didn't whine. He stood, rigid, silent, watching. The intake file was thick, pages of reports, incident logs, medical notes, written in bold black ink across the front. Unadoptable, trauma-induced aggression, retired K9. No one argued with it. Atlas had been found after a call that ended a career and a life. A high-risk operation, a warehouse raid, gunfire in the dark. His handler never walked out. After that night, Atlas was no longer the same dog. He lunged without warning, refused commands, reacted violently to sudden movement, wheels, metal sounds, especially wheels. Shelter staff tried everything. Trainers, behavioral specialists, even former officers who knew K9s better than anyone. Nothing worked. "He's too far gone," one volunteer whispered one evening, as Atlas paced the length of his kennel, muscles tight, breath heavy. Some dogs never come back from what they've seen. At night, when the shelter went quiet, Atlas would sit upright and stare at the wall, unmoving, as if listening to something only he could hear. And sometimes, very rarely, he would let out a low, broken sound. Not a howl, a mourning. Most people stopped believing he could be saved. Then the girl arrived. The bell over the shelter door rang softly. Mia's mother pushed her wheelchair inside, careful over the threshold. Mia's hands rested neatly in her lap. Her long brown hair was braided and tied with a faded blue ribbon. She was 9 years old. Her legs hadn't moved in almost a year. "You sure about this?" her mother asked gently, already knowing the answer. Mia nodded. "I just want to see them." The receptionist smiled, though her eyes flicked instinctively toward the far end of the corridor, toward the last kennel. Volunteers brought out the calmer dogs first. A Labrador wagged wildly and licked Mia's hand. A Spaniel jumped and spun in circles. A husky sang loudly, making Mia laugh, but her laughter faded quickly. Her eyes kept drifting, again and again, to the shadowed end of the hallway. "Sweetheart," the shelter manager said carefully, stepping closer, "maybe we don't go all the way down there." Mia tilted her head. "Why?" The manager hesitated. "That dog, he's not safe." From the far kennel came a sound, a deep, vibrating growl that rolled through the hallway like distant thunder. Mia didn't flinch. She listened. "I want to meet him," she said quietly. Her mother froze. "Mia, no. That's a police dog. He hurt someone." Mia's voice was calm, steady. "He's hurting." The words landed heavy. No one moved. Finally, her mother swallowed and pushed the wheelchair forward, slowly, until they reached the last kennel. Atlas turned. His body went rigid, muscles coiled, teeth flashed as he stepped forward, eyes locking onto the wheelchair wheels. The growl deepened. Volunteers backed away. The manager raised her voice. "Ma'am, please." Mia lifted her hand slightly. "Stop," she whispered. No one knew if she was speaking to Atlas or to the fear in the room. Her heart pounded as she rolled closer, inch by inch, until her chair was only feet from the bars. Atlas trembled. Then Mia spoke. "Hi, my name is Mia." Atlas froze. "I know you don't like wheels," she continued softly. "I didn't either, at first." The growl wavered. Mia swallowed. "When my dad got hurt, everything stopped." Atlas's ears twitched. "When the loud noises happened, and he didn't come home." For the first time since arriving at the shelter, Atlas sat down, slowly. The pacing stopped. The growling faded into a low, uncertain breath. Mia's mother covered her mouth. Mia rolled closer, and placed her hand gently against the cold steel bars. "I'm not here to hurt you," she whispered. "I just wanted to tell you, I understand." Atlas stepped forward, one step, then another. His massive head lowered until his nose hovered inches from her fingers. The shelter held its breath. And then, impossibly, the most dangerous dog in the building pressed his forehead against the bars and closed his eyes. The room stayed silent long after Atlas closed his eyes. No one dared move. The shelter manager was the first to find her voice, though it came out barely above a whisper. "That's not possible." Atlas had never done that. Not with trainers, not with officers, not with anyone. Yet there he was, the same canine labeled extreme caution, standing inches from a little girl in a wheelchair, his massive body finally still. Mia's fingers rested against the cold steel bars. She didn't pull away. She didn't rush him. She simply stayed. Her mother's legs felt weak. She lowered herself onto a nearby bench, heart hammering so hard she could feel it in her throat. Every instinct screamed that this was dangerous. Every warning she'd ever heard about retired police dogs echoed in her mind. But something else was happening here, something no rulebook covered. Atlas inhaled slowly, deeply, as if memorizing her scent. His ears flicked back and forth, not in aggression, but confusion, like a soldier waking from a nightmare and realizing the war might be over. A volunteer whispered, "He's calm." Another shook her head, tears forming. "I've never seen him calm." The shelter manager cleared her throat, forcing herself back into authority. "Okay, that's enough for today," she said, though her voice lacked conviction. "We need to move Mia back." Mia didn't argue. She didn't protest. She just leaned forward slightly and whispered, "I'll come back." Atlas's eyes opened instantly. Not sharp, not threatening, just aware. As Mia's wheelchair slowly turned away, Atlas let out a soft sound, a low, aching whine that followed her down the hallway. Her mother stopped, breath catching. She looked back. Atlas stood tall now, pressed against the bars, eyes fixed on the retreating chair, waiting. That night, the shelter felt different. Atlas didn't pace. He didn't growl when volunteers approached with food. He lay down, not curled defensively in the corner, but stretched out, head resting on his paws, eyes open, alert, waiting. The night supervisor noticed it during her rounds. She stopped in front of his kennel and frowned. "Well, I'll be damned," she murmured. Atlas's eyes followed her calmly. "You've been holding that together all this time, haven't you?" she said softly. Atlas blinked once. The next morning, the shelter director arrived early, earlier than usual. She had already received 3 emails about the wheelchair girl and the police dog miracle. "We cannot allow this to get out of control," she said firmly during the staff meeting. "Atlas is not a therapy animal. He is unstable. Whatever happened yesterday was an anomaly." One volunteer raised her hand. "But ma'am, he hasn't shown aggression since she left." "That doesn't erase years of data," the director replied. "Trauma doesn't disappear overnight." No one disagreed, but no one argued either, because all of them were thinking the same thing. What if this wasn't about aggression at all? Mia didn't sleep well that night. She dreamed of loud noises, of flashing lights, of her father's voice calling her name, then cutting off suddenly. She woke with tears on her cheeks. Her mother was already awake, sitting beside her bed. "Bad dreams," Mia nodded. "About the dog?" her mother asked gently. Mia shook her head. "About Dad." Her mother's breath caught. She reached for Mia's hand. "He used to say police dogs were braver than people," Mia said quietly, "that they go where humans are afraid to go." Her mother swallowed hard. "He loved his job." Mia nodded. "So did the dog." Her mother frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" Mia looked at her, eyes serious beyond her years. "The dog lost his person, just like I did." Her mother had no answer. The next afternoon they returned to the shelter. This time the staff was ready. Extra volunteers stood nearby. A behavior specialist watched from a distance. A leash and muzzle lay ready on a table, just in case. Atlas heard them before he saw them. The sound of wheels. His body tensed but didn't coil. He stood ears forward, breathing controlled. When Mia appeared at the end of the hallway, Atlas didn't growl. He didn't bark. He sat. A clean, trained sit. Muscle memory from a lifetime of service. The behavior specialist whispered, stunned, "That's a command response." "But no one gave a command," the volunteer replied. Mia rolled closer. Her heart pounded this time, not from fear, but anticipation. "Hi again," she said softly. Atlas' tail moved, just once. A slow, uncertain sweep against the concrete floor. Several people gasped. "Oh my God," someone whispered. "Did you see that?" Mia smiled, a small, careful smile, like one you give something fragile. "I told you I'd come back," she said. Atlas stepped forward until his nose touched the bars again. Mia reached out slowly, giving him time. Her fingers brushed the steel, then fur, warm, rough, real. Atlas leaned into her touch like a man leaning against a wall after a long march. His breath shuddered, and in that moment, the behavior specialist lowered her clipboard. "Director," she said quietly, "we need to reassess this dog." Later that day, the director sat alone in her office, Atlas's files spread open before her. Incident reports, medical notes, one photograph clipped inside the folder. Atlas as a younger dog, strong, alert, sitting beside a uniformed officer with a hand resting proudly on his back. The officer's name read, Officer James Carter, K9 Handler, deceased. The director closed her eyes slowly. Mia's last name was Carter. That evening, the shelter manager approached Mia's mother quietly. "May I ask your husband's name?" Her mother stiffened. "Why?" The manager swallowed. "The K9, Atlas. His handler's name was James Carter." The room went silent. Mia's breath caught. That was my dad. The realization hit like a wave. Not magic, not coincidence. Recognition. Atlas hadn't just calmed, he had remembered. And Mia, broken, brave, sitting in her wheelchair, wasn't just any child. She was the daughter of the man Atlas never stopped waiting for. The truth changed everything. Once the name James Carter was spoken out loud, the shelter no longer felt like a neutral place. It felt like a crossroads where two unfinished stories had collided. Mia sat very still in her wheelchair, her small hands gripping the armrests. Her mother's face had gone pale, as if someone had opened a door she had spent a year desperately trying to keep shut. That can't be right," her mother whispered. The shelter manager nodded slowly. "I checked the file twice." Mia didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared at Atlas through the bars, her eyes filling quietly, as if the truth had slipped into her chest and settled there. "You knew my dad," she said softly. Atlas didn't move, but his ears lowered, and for the first time since anyone could remember, he lay down, not relaxed, not calm, but heavy, like a dog carrying a weight far too large. That night, the shelter director couldn't sleep. Neither could Atlas. He lay on the concrete floor of his kennel, eyes open, breath slow but strained. The sounds of the shelter faded, the hum of lights, the distant traffic, until all that remained was memory, the warehouse, the smell of oil and dust, the sharp crack of gunfire. Atlas had been young then, strong, certain. James's voice had always been calm, steady, easy boy, track. Atlas had trusted that voice more than his own instincts. They moved together, human and dog, through darkness and danger like they had 100 times before, until the night the shouting started, until the air exploded, until James fell. Atlas remembered pulling against the leash, remembered barking, remembered the warmth of blood and the way James's hand had slipped from his fur. He remembered standing over him, growling at anyone who came too close. He remembered being dragged away, and he remembered one sound above all others, a child screaming. Atlas' chest tightened. His paws twitched. From that night on, wheels meant stretchers, metal meant guns, loud noises meant loss, and children's voices meant the moment everything ended. On the next morning, the shelter director made a decision. "This cannot continue," she said firmly. "Atlas is re-traumatizing himself, and this child, she's not just a child," the behavior specialist interrupted quietly. "She's his handler's daughter." The director hesitated. "That doesn't make this safe." "No," the specialist agreed, "but it makes it meaningful." The director shook her head. "Meaning doesn't protect us from liability." The word hung in the air. That afternoon, Mia arrived again. This time she came prepared. She held something in her lap, a folded piece of blue fabric. Atlas noticed immediately. His body stiffened as the familiar scent reached him. Leather, oil, James. Mia stopped several feet from the kennel. "I brought something," she said softly. Her mother's heart pounded. "Mia, it's okay," Mia whispered. She unfolded the fabric carefully. A police jacket, her father's. Atlas's breath hitched. He rose slowly, step by step, until he stood directly at the bars. Mia lifted the jacket slightly. "Dad used to wear this when he came home. I used to hide my face in it." She swallowed. I thought if I brought it, maybe you'd remember him the right way. Atlas pressed his nose to the bars. Then he let out a sound that froze everyone in place. A deep, broken whine. The sound of a K9 mourning a partner he never got to say goodbye to. Mia's tears spilled freely now. He didn't leave you, she said, voice shaking. He tried to come back. Atlas's body trembled. The behavior specialist whispered, "This isn't aggression. This is unresolved grief." The director closed her eyes, because she knew what came next. Theastum Mardiotum that evening, a decision was posted on Atlas's kennel. No further visits, for the safety of all parties. Mia saw it before anyone could explain. Her face fell. Her mother turned sharply. "What does that mean?" The shelter manager spoke gently. "It means Atlas is being transferred to a facility better equipped for severe cases." Mia's chest tightened. "When?" "Tomorrow morning." Mia's fingers curled into fists. "No." Her mother knelt beside her. "Sweetheart, they're trying to help him." Mia shook her head. "They're sending him away because he hurts." Atlas watched from behind the bars, silent and unmoving. When Mia rolled away that night, Atlas didn't whine. He didn't bark. He simply sat, eyes fixed on the empty hallway, just as he had every night since James never came back. Later, when the shelter lights dimmed, a volunteer slipped quietly down the corridor. She stopped in front of Atlas' kennel and crouched. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I don't think anyone's ever listened to you before." Atlas didn't look at her. He was listening for wheels, but they didn't come. That night, Mia made a decision of her own. She sat in her room, staring at her father's folded jacket, tears drying on her cheeks. "They don't understand," she said quietly. Her mother sat beside her, exhausted. "What don't they understand?" "That he's not dangerous," Mia replied. "He's waiting." Her mother closed her eyes. "Waiting for what?" Mia looked up, her voice steady. "For us." The transport van arrived just after dawn. Its engine idled outside the shelter, a low mechanical hum that made Atlas lift his head immediately. He recognized that sound. It meant cages. It meant leaving. It meant never coming back. A handler from the transfer facility stepped inside with paperwork in hand. "We're here for the K9. Atlas stood, not aggressively, not defensively, resigned. The shelter staff moved quietly, avoiding his eyes. No one liked this part, not when a dog had already lost everything once before. As they prepared the reinforced crate, the shelter manager hesitated. "Give us a moment." She turned and walked quickly down the hallway. Mia was already there. She had come early, too early. Her mother pushed her wheelchair forward, eyes red from crying but jaw set with determination. She hadn't stopped Mia this time. Some battles weren't meant to be won with logic. Atlas saw her. His ears snapped forward, his body trembled. Mia rolled closer than she ever had before. "They're taking you away," she said softly. "I didn't want that to be the last thing you heard." Atlas stepped to the bars. Mia reached into her lap and pulled out her father's badge. She held it up so Atlas could see. "Dad told me once," she whispered, "that police dogs don't quit, even when it hurts." Atlas lowered his head, pressing it gently against the bars. Mia's hand followed, resting where steel met fur. "I can't stop them," she said, voice breaking, "but I don't want you to think you were abandoned again." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Atlas did something no one expected. He lay down, flat, exposing his throat. A sign of trust so complete that the handler froze. "That's submission," he murmured. "He's choosing peace." The shelter manager made a decision she would later defend with her career. "Open the kennel." Gasps filled the hallway. "Are you insane?" the handler snapped, but Mia's mother spoke before fear could take over. "Please." The door opened slowly. Atlas didn't move. Mia rolled forward until she was right in front of him. She leaned down and wrapped her arms, carefully, gently around his massive neck. Atlas let out a shuddering breath. For the first time since James Carter died, Atlas cried without fear. The moment didn't last. It never does. A sudden metallic crash echoed from the supply room. A dropped tray, a loud, sharp bang. Atlas's body reacted before his mind could catch up. He flinched, hard, his muscles locked, his breathing spiked. The handler reached instinctively for the control leash. Mia's mother screamed, "Mia!" But Mia didn't pull away. She whispered, firm and steady the way her father once had, "Atlas, it's okay. I'm here." Atlas's chest heaved. Seconds passed. 1, 2, then slowly, his body softened. He stayed. The handler lowered his hands, stunned. He came back on his own. The behavior specialist wiped her eyes. He trusted her voice over his fear. That was the moment the shelter director understood the truth. Atlas wasn't dangerous. He was unhealed. The adoption board had never approved a canine placement like this, ever. But rules are written for averages, not miracles. The director stood in front of the committee, hands trembling slightly. We have a former police dog with severe trauma, and a child who understands that trauma better than any professional in this room. Silence followed. Finally, one board member spoke. And if it goes wrong? The director swallowed. Then it goes wrong with love, not abandonment. The vote passed. Barely. Atlas wasn't adopted as a pet. He was placed as a companion canine under monitored care, with Mia. Weeks later, the neighborhood learned his name. Atlas walked beside Mia's wheelchair every morning, matching her pace perfectly, stopping when she stopped, moving when she moved. He slept at the foot of her bed. He no longer paced at night. Sometimes, when Mia had nightmares, Atlas would lift his head and place it gently against her side until her breathing slowed. They healed together. Two survivors of the same night, one without words, one without legs, both stronger than the pain that tried to define them. At a small memorial ceremony months later, Mia placed her father's badge on Atlas's harness. "He didn't leave either of us," she said quietly. "He just sent help." Atlas sat tall, proud, whole, not because he was fixed, but because he was finally home. If this story moved you, if you believe some heroes don't wear capes or speak words, subscribe to Silent Heroes Stories, because the quietest heroes are often the ones who save us the most.